All right, legends, how is everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some cryptos. It's been quite boring throughout the last few days, guys. Let's analyze all together what could be the highest probability moves, the best levels to take into consideration for our next big trading setups. How is everybody doing? Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button, guys, on your way in. And we'll be analyzing straight away what's going on here with the price of Bitcoin. Just a quick hello for the people that have joined the live stream right now. Mustaine, how are you doing? Where are you, my man? I missed you. I was at a good friend's wedding and it was a long weekend for myself. I did catch a quick flight, went to Spain, came back to Dubai, and now we are here back on the charts. But it hasn't been quite exciting, okay, for Bitcoin and crypto. Very choppy, very rangy, and nothing too major has happened, right? So we'll be getting some stuff ready here on the live stream. I haven't been doing any trading myself really throughout the last few days. The last trade that I got in was a Bitcoin long position from the bottom formation here in this area. Did take some profit, did add to the position. I am looking for the price to visit 113.5. Will we get the breakout? Or will we create a fake out is my main question. But overall, it does look like we're going to get that break here and, you know, try and break out anyway. That's the thing, okay? We'll be talking about major levels, how the price could develop. I know, guys, most of you may be just watching this inverted head and shoulder, right? Where you do have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. This is going to be it. We're going to get the breakout very soon, maybe today, and get an explosive move to the upside here, right? I think many people, let me know in the comment section, are looking at this basically, right? Just a simple inverted head and shoulder. Somebody might just squeeze a descending wedge here like this, and off we go. That's it, guys. The low is in. We're going to go to much higher levels, right? That would be super nice and simple, right? We're going to break out, guys. Let's all long here together. Or, you know, if you would have longed the right shoulder, even if you would have longed the head, even better, right? But overall, I do not think that this is going to play out. And I'll explain throughout today's live stream, okay? Get an explosive breakout here. I mean, it could happen. Keeping it simple, we do have a major resistance that we are revisiting here. You could arguably discuss we're forming an ascending triangle here, which is just going to pop out. You know, very, very likely we're going to test 113.5. The question is, how high are we going to go? And I'm going to explain a few movements that I'm looking for here to take my next trading decision, because the only trade that I got in throughout the last week was the long position right over here in this zone, which, you know, profits have been taken. I have added to the position ever so slightly. And that was the main long position for the last, you know, just over a week ago. So not being too exciting. I'm very careful with the positions, okay, with the Legends Pro community, with the VIP group, just sharing my trades, sharing the P&Ls, because, you know, overall, I am interested in making gains, you know, every single month. It doesn't matter in the short term, right? Stopped out a few days, 1 week, 2 weeks. I'm interested in the long term, and I want to get into very good trading setups. And I will be explaining throughout this live stream on YouTube where are my next big major trades, because the only good trades for a big swing that I got in throughout the last few weeks was basically Ethereum short position and also the Bitcoin long position that was in August. The only big long position was this one, and on Ethereum was this short position from all-time high. Those were my two big major trades throughout the last, you know, give or take 5 to 6 weeks. Okay, so overall, I'm watching very carefully the price action and analyzing very, very carefully what are the next setups. So I need you to pay attention. These are big swing trading positions, and that will be explained throughout today's live stream. Hang on a second, guys. Need to go and check something. So that will be explained in today's live stream. So let's go quickly through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. We're getting some people joining here. He's back in Dubai. Tennis tomorrow, Habibi. Mattia, my man. Make sure to go and check out CBM, Crypto by Mattia, because he's absolutely awesome, providing insane content every single day on YouTube, guys. Make sure to go and check him out. Mattia, CBM, Crypto by Mattia. He's here in the comment section. Tennis tomorrow, very likely, brother. We'll be speaking later on, okay? Let's go right away. Daniel Singleton, afternoon, my man. He probably knows it's going to be a big day. I hope Andy talks about Pengu. Pengu, we can take a look at Pengu later on, okay? We'll be saving the altcoins later on, okay? Bull market starting, says Mario. Possibly. We are looking for another all-time high on Bitcoin at some point. Just because the movement down here does fit in better as a corrective structure, okay? However, the movement up that we had from the lows is not looking too promising, guys. I have to say, it doesn't look like this is a solid impulsive move. There is ways of fitting a nice impulse, well, not a nice impulse, but you know, I'm very, very skeptical for this to be a wave 1, wave 2, bang. You know, we're just going to explode out here. Wave 3, right? 4, 5. This is an impulse, and we just continue to the upside. Very, very skeptical about that, guys, and I will be explaining why. So overall, this movement up doesn't look too great for an impulse, which obviously brings the risk that these lows can be revisited at some point in the near future. Will it be this week? Will it be next week? That is the main question. However, the movement down looks better as a corrective structure, part of a correction that could extend throughout the next coming weeks. But that's a good sign, because that means that new all-time highs is expected in the near future. Obviously, we're looking before the end of the year, right? It might take 1 or 2 months maybe to get up there. It might take a few weeks. But we want to be a little bit careful, because this uptrend momentum from the last 2 weeks, well, basically 10 days, it hasn't been 2 weeks, doesn't look too promising. So we want to be careful, right? We want to be a little bit careful. Don't become too bullish. If you're in long positions from lower, if you're in the Legend Pro or in the VIP, we were long here just over a week ago and took some profits, still have some of that position open to see if we can stretch our legs a little bit higher. It's a good position. It's worth adding to the position if you can do it so safely with your stop loss at break even. This is the main long position right over there, which I added to the position. Profits have been taken. So we slowly laddering in, basically because I do see high probability that the 113.5K is going to be tested, and we're going to give it a shot to see if it does stretch its legs to 114, 115. I am very much aware and in favor of this scenario happening. So it's in my best interest to maintain some of this long, potentially add to the position, which I did do so, and look for a nice little squeeze up. But I am interested in shorts, guys. I'm sorry. A lot of people say Andy's the big bear of the bull run, right? Andy's the big bear of Bitcoin always. And it's not like that. I do realize that new all-time highs are very likely. So I am interested in swing long positions, but I am skeptical that the long position that I'm in here is not going to be that swing long. So I've taken this trade more as a short swing trade, right? My main first target was 113.5. When we got all of this noise, I'm taking some profits, guys. Now we can add a little bit to the position and see if we do get the pop, okay? At least to get above 113.5. So I am in long. I am interested in shorts. We need to ride the waves, right? We need to understand the timing, the waves. So I do realize that all-time high is likely, just because all of this rejection counts better as a corrective structure, and an impulsive move cannot be counted in here nicely. So one thing on the higher time frame, we are looking for all-time highs in the near future, give or take 1, 2, maybe 3 months, right? We need that information that is provided here throughout the next coming weeks to really spot when that correction is going to be finished. I'm more interested in bigger swings at the moment, guys, as you realized, right, throughout the last few months. So what I am aware is that this movement to the upside doesn't look too great to start a major rally, right? Get a strong wave 3 here, breakout, off we go to all-time highs in the next 1 to 2 weeks. This is kind of unlikely, guys. I'm sorry to be the bear here, but based on the structure, it seems like that a larger corrective structure looks more probable in this zone, which we have been talking about throughout the last few weeks. And there's one main reason why. Okay, we need to zoom back and understand, how did we get up here from the lows of April? How did we get up there? Timing is extremely important, guys, in trading, because it's going to give you that edge on, is this ready really to pop and hit all-time high? Or do we still have a little bit of more time to continue a range and then maybe go to higher levels and even lower and then go up? Well, based on this, which we've been talking about now for the last few weeks, is that contracting diagonal, right? Which is this one right over here. Hang on a second. This one right over here. Okay. For the price to form a V-shaped recovery and hit all-time high, the only scenario that would fit would be a flat. Okay. So I would be skeptical if we were to hit all-time high in the next coming weeks and get a successful breakout. I would actually be interested in looking at the price action here and maybe look for a short. Because based on the timing from the low of April, we formed a 5-wave structure, which is good. It's without a doubt good. If this is going to be corrective, that's spot on, because we are looking for new all-time highs. However, this is very short to be a correction, to get a massive move up to hit all-time high, guys, in the next 1 to 2 weeks. It's just not common. It's not common to see on the charts. So what you need to think is, the correction could definitely extend for the next coming weeks before rallying to all-time high. And with the movement up that we've had in the last week, we got information that is telling us this is not the common structure that you want to see developed for the price to move up, okay, in an impulse. And the main reason why is because there's a lot of noise here. There's a lot of overlap. Very hard to count a bullish structure with this movement. So it's just very choppy and very corrective. You can have a WXY here, double zigzag sideways. You've got a flat in the middle. There's a lot of noise happening in this zone, which is making it more likely that this is a corrective bounce, meaning that you have the risk in testing the lows. So what we could be looking for here is something like this. I am very much aware of this scenario, guys, and people will be in denial. People will just say, screw you and your BS bearish scenarios. This is Bitcoin. We've got too many bullish news out there, right? Which is literally, all of these institutions and, and different, investments on Bitcoin that is happening. And it's just going to go up from here, right? We know that that is not the case, guys, for the price of Bitcoin. So we want to just be aware. And I'll be fitting in the scenarios in today's live stream. So make sure to grab your cup of coffee, your water, grab whatever you want. Stay chilled. We'll be building up some scenarios, intraday levels of resistance and support. If you want to jump into a little scalp, okay, there are some interesting levels. So just make sure to stay tuned, because we'll be covering all of that. All right. And trading is about being patient and waiting for your levels to be hit and your scenarios. Just wait for it, guys, because either a short or a long, you can plan it, you can wait for the levels to be hit and then execute that trade with good risk management. It's all about that, guys. A lot of people are interested. Oh, shall we long right now? Shall we short right now? Well, we need to obviously create some trading plans, right? You need to create your plan and you need to execute that plan successfully with good risk management. Let's dive in through the comment section and then we'll dive in through the analysis, because what I'm mostly interested in, we know that we formed a 5-wave move up here. We know that this would be relatively quick to be a corrective move to shoot up to all-time highs. So we don't like that scenario too much, that we're going to be extremely bullish now for the next coming weeks. So we're just aware of the levels of resistance here. And I'm going to explain how the price needs to form, what signs of weakness I will find to potentially short the market, guys. I am in a Bitcoin long. I would be more than happy for Bitcoin to get to 114, 115, 116K because I am in a long position. But what I want to make you understand is that I'm interested in a short position to potentially claim the lows again. And then we just hop into another new long position, depending if it's going to be 100K or 96K. I don't know. We need to see that movement and study it very carefully. But I am interested in shorts. I'm in a long right now. I'm not shorting here. I will be explaining a little bit in detail what I want to see, okay, for that short position, okay? So let's go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community, all right? And Doge keeps on pumping. Andy, Dogecoin, yeah, we got some altcoins getting some pumps, and you know what's going on with Dogecoin. Dogecoin continues to pump. There it is. Dogecoin looks absolutely phenomenal, I have to say. Dogecoin does look really, really good. The main reason why Doge looks good and we have high probability in hitting these highs is because all of this movement here looks extremely corrective. Okay, very, very corrective. You got a zigzag down, this bounce over here, a little bit of a triangle-y structure. You could have formed a WXY here, but the main reason of coming all the way up and hitting those highs is that you formed a three-wave structure here, and this price action overlapped, okay, the first wave to the downside and the second wave. So big correction, guys. It's just a matter of time that we take out these highs at 29 cents. You know, it's not much to go through this. Very, very corrective price action, strong leading move up, three-wave structure, bounce, overlapping here, all of this nonsense. So there's not a strong five-wave impulse and a corrective structure up to believe that we're going to go lower here. It's the other way around, right? Where you do have a big move up, three-wave structure here, overlapping here your wave 1 and wave 2, possible wave 1 and 2, which automatically converts this into a three-wave structure. So you could have a zigzag here, right? And then here you basically have a zigzag, a triangle, you know, whatever you want, okay? We're not going to go in detail here on Dogecoin. We're focused on Bitcoin mainly, but it does look pretty interesting for the price of Dogecoin to actually hit those highs at 29 cents at some point, right, in the near future. It looks like it wants to do so as we're recording this, right? It really wants to pop out here. So we're going to focus on Bitcoin, okay? And Ethereum. I would like to take a look at Ethereum with you guys later on. Smash up the like button if you do enjoy the content, guys, and we'll dive in. Andy, can you please look at MYX? It has gone up 30% in 2 months. Possible short OP right now or at 21. My goodness. I mean, MYX. I have no idea what this is, but we can take a look at that right away. MYX Finance. This has gone through the roof by the looks of things. Let's see what's going on with this one, legends. But yeah, we're going to focus on Bitcoin, okay? We need to focus on Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin and Ethereum are my main, okay, cryptos that I trade, okay? And I want to share that, right? The main P&Ls, the main gains that I make is purely based on Bitcoin and also added Ethereum. Holy smokes, this has gone through the roof in just a matter of a few weeks. MYX Finance. Holy moly, imagine buying this a few weeks ago. This was the altcoin to be in, guys, by the looks of things, right? Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened with this, okay? There's not really much to analyze. We can pull out the charts later on the stream. But I want to share Bitcoin and Ethereum, guys. This is where I make my main gains, all right? My main trade setups, because they are liquid. They're very predictable once you have the structure finished. And trading is all about that, right? Trading is all about being patient, creating those plans for Bitcoin and Ethereum because they are liquid assets. You can really go in heavily with these on exchanges such as Bluffin, Weeks, lots of exchanges that are very highly liquid on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And they're the ones that you can predict easier, okay? Instead of altcoins just popping out here, right? Here, there. We focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. So Smash up the like button. We'll take a look at some altcoins later on, okay, on the stream. Yup, NYX flew like it's never gonna stop. Yes, by the looks of things it is. With my man, I gave it to your last time. With my man, remember I gave it you to the last time. With, yeah, dog with hat. We can take a look at them, guys. A lot of people focusing here on altcoins. Dominance is dropping. Short BTC, but long alts. Yeah, we can take a look at the altcoins later on, guys. Let's focus on Bitcoin. It seems like people are more interested in altcoins, guys, than Bitcoin. But Bitcoin's where I make my money, guys. Bitcoin is literally where I make my, most of my money trading. Altcoins, very rarely I would jump into a few altcoin trades unless my analyst, on the VIP, provides a good altcoin setup. Then I'll jump onto an altcoin. But mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum on my side, guys. I wait patiently. People want to trade and trade. Last trade I got in was here, guys, on Bitcoin. Nice rally of a few $1,000s. Still in the long. We can push up here without a doubt. Okay, to get above 113.5. Looking at the basic structures, we got that inverted head and shoulder, right? A lot of people like to watch these, simple patterns, which could definitely come into fruition. But I got more information here for you guys. It's not looking that great, unfortunately, to get a successful breakout from this inverted head and shoulder structure. Okay, and by a successful breakout, I mean get that big move up here. It is possible eventually, but I am very skeptical that this push up that we do get from this area is going to take us to much higher levels. And I am interested in a short position. Believe it or not, I'm interested in shorting the pump and analyzing very carefully that structure. This will be given in the VIP channel, guys. Okay, the long trade that I got in on Bitcoin just last week was given in the VIP channel. Okay, that's in the Telegram. If you're interested in joining that, join the Telegram down below. Okay, you just need to sign up to one of these exchanges, do a minimum deposit of $500, and you will be joining the Telegram VIP, where I provide the setups on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Of course, these are swing trades. We remain patient. This trade was from last week, right? So it's been a long week that we've maintained that long and collecting profits, right? These are not scalps, get in, get out, right? And provide, 5 trades a day. These are nice, chilled swing positions. So let's go through, why am I interested in a short, right? Why would I be interested in a short if we are breaking, a descending wedge here, right? And we're forming an inverted head and shoulder, and we're just going to absolutely fly. Well, I would be more than happy to hold on into those longs and take profit on the way up. I'm already long on this. This is not a zone to get into a long position safely unless you're looking at the lower time frame and getting into these pullbacks. So today was very interesting because, from the low of Saturday right over here, you got a big dump down, right? On Friday, you do have this kind of triangle structure and then another leg down. Very 3-wavy move. Then you have this rally throughout Saturday, corrective structure, and then a new rally throughout Monday. And then early this morning, we formed a 3-wave move down. And pay attention here, guys, because this is like the bomb diggity of, realizing when you want to get into a long position. You can see how this pump overlapped this pivot low, automatically converting this into a very possible 3-wave structure to the downside. If you get the rally and you overlap the pivot low, you're already invalidating that possible impulsive move to the downside, right, in a 5-wave structure. So you overlap that pivot, which is making it very good. Your only big bearish case scenario is that this would be a multiple 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then you break down in a 3rd wave. However, your 2nd wave 1 was already significantly longer than your 1st wave 1. So if your 3rd wave 1 is much longer and you overlap, you prefer to count this as an ABC. If you overlap this pivot, it's a good sign that you're going to take out the highs, which is basically what happened here. So that's the moment of execution or get ready to get into a long position with your invalidation here, just in case you get a corrective move and you just add to the position to then hop in to take out these highs, right? Just in simple terms here, guys, you know, the overall scenario was looking for longs as you overlapped here this pivot. So anyway, going through the scenarios that I'm looking at here, okay, I'm going to try and keep it simple, guys, even though it's not simple at all for most, okay? And I know a lot of people would just prefer to hop off because it's too complex, but I'm just explaining where I'm looking to execute the trade, what I'm waiting for before I let the VIP and the pro community, guys, I'm in the short, stop loss is here, this percentage, I'm targeting this zone. And if you want to join my trade eventually, because it's not a signal, I'm just sharing what I am doing, then you can obviously follow or not, right? It's all up to you. No financial advice as always. I'm just sharing my trading journey with the pro community and the VIP. So when I do take a look at this, right, you got the inverted head and shoulder. There's too many eyes watching this. Inverted head and shoulder, we're expecting a breakout, and that's your main target, right? Getting the head to the neckline, easy peasy, right? Let's all long together and make a huge amount of money here, because there's an inverted head and shoulder that my grandmother talked about, because everybody knows about this inverted head and shoulder by now. It is all just long here, the breakout, right? And all the way up here. Stop loss at the low or beneath the right shoulder. And yeah, this is not the kind of trades that I'm interested in eventually. So what I would want to see here, when I do analyze this uptrend structure, this is the most important structure that I need to analyze very carefully to understand that there is low probability in getting in flying here. There is low probability in flying to the upside. Low probability that we get a flying move to the upside based on this structure, guys. I wish it would be more easier than just saying inverted head and shoulder. This structure right over here is not a good structure to get a flying move here to the upside. But it's an inverted head and shoulder, sir. Well, yeah, well, apparently, the movement up that we had is not looking great for an impulse and looks like we are forming some kind of a corrective structure. Lots of overlap, lots of choppiness. It's not my preferred zone, really, because I've been a little bit on the sidelines here, even though I haven't been paying attention to the charts, to do really anything in this zone. Today, you had a nice little long trade to take out the highs as a scalp, but nothing much more than that. Based on the movement up that we do have here, very overlappy, which is not looking great. So you need to start fitting in here very complex WXY structures, because if you think about a bullish movement up here, you have first leg up, correction, next leg up, correction, overlap, this move up here, lots of overlap. Could this be a multiple 1-2? Yes, until the price did this and start getting below the last higher lows. No longer a multiple 1-2 to get a third wave breakout, and then obviously your 4-5s, right? This was invalidated as soon as you got this leg down on Thursday. So not a multiple 1-2. To fit in a diagonal in this structure, I mean, there's one that we've been talking about last week, which is basically, let's see if I do find it here. Basically this one right over here. You can fit a diagonal here, contracting diagonal. Wave 3 correction did overlap your trend line of wave 2 and 4. It's not a preferred scenario, but it would be a valid scenario. This is kind of the, there are other ways in fitting some kind of a diagonal here, but it just doesn't look good at all, right? And if you do have any type of a corrective structure that you can fit in here, you always give that priority than a contracting diagonal, okay? So other corrective scenarios, one of them would be this one right over here. right? And there's many other ones that you can fit based on the new price action that we had in the last few days. Very, very complex, very choppy. It's a massive headache, guys. It is a headache to understand exactly what structure do we have here. So I want to keep it simplified, which is, what I'm going to explain here throughout the next coming minutes, talking about the levels of resistance that we have to the upside and how the price needs to develop for me to just, I don't really care at the end of the day. I need to understand that this could be some kind of a corrective structure, but I don't need to know exactly, what is it as of yet, because depending on how we move up here, I know what I'm looking for to execute that short. And I want to explain that throughout this live stream, right? Keeping it very simple. When we do take a look at, this is incredibly choppy and confusing price action, guys. But it does count better than an impulsive move here. And then we're just going to fly in a third wave in the next coming days. It does not fit nicely at all. So let's dive in here and go through the steps of how we moved up here, where we do have a zigzag move up here, where you have a flat, okay, zigzag here to possibly count your wave W. You have another flat here to the downside because this movement down counts better as a 5-wave move. So you'd have this flat here in the middle to count your wave X. And then you have your A wave, B wave, and now you're building up your last C wave that has to be an impulse. In that case, what we would want to see is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 breakouts, right? Get to 114, 115, create a big movement up, which would be in confluence with the people watching an inverted head and shoulder. Because what you have here is that famous inverted head and shoulder that I've seen it throughout X right now, to get the big explosive breakout to get to 120K, right, as the target zone. No doubt that this would fit perfectly to get that breakout, okay? And what we're looking at here is a possible WXY corrective structure, guys, just because this movement up doesn't count too great as an impulse. So I'm not expecting a third wave up, but I could be expecting a nice push through here, which can get a little bit people, a little bit, confused, right? As in, but this is breaking out, the neckline. This is actually breaking out the inverted head and shoulder. So we should be heading to much higher prices. However, as explained, you have your 3-wave structure here, a flat here, and now you have your A wave, higher low B wave, and now you're just building up that C wave that needs to be a 5-wave structure. C wave needs to be a 5-wave move. So you got the multiple 1, 2, and what I would want to see here, if this is bullish, it is bullish market structure locally here in the last 2 days. Get that, triple 1, 2, it doesn't matter. Get a nice big breakout here. Get volume increasing and get the breakout. Pump $1,000 to $2,000, whatever. That's the move that I want to see. I am not interested in participating in this move. Well, I'm already in that move. Okay, I am in a long position from lower. But in this movement, I'm not interested in longing the breakout or shorting anything here. Well, let's say there is a little bit of a possible short scalp based on this lower high. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I'm probably in the middle. You could arguably discuss. We like lower highs. This is only a scalp, guys, and it's very risky purely based on understanding that this could pop out. But, this is a very, very common level to get a swing failure pattern. After a big move down with high volume, it's only a scalp, guys. I could not stress this enough. If you can enter a scalp short on a swing failure pattern here, it might just reject a few $100. Okay, SFPing from this lower high. It's a scalp. You're only looking for a rejection of a few $100. And if it goes lower, then your stop loss should be very, very tight above the highs and be defensive. It's not a big move that I'm looking for here. It could be that you do reject a lot. It's a very common rejection point, right? Where after a big move to the downside with high volume, your dead cat bounce, if it's not visited, all right, throughout the next price action, it is very common to get a swing failure pattern from that level. Very, very common, guys. So, you know, it is a scalp short. I'm not that interested in that scalp short unless I'm in front of the computer, in front of the charts, and in front of the exchange to execute that trade. Okay, I will have an alert for that short, but it's a small movement, all right? Small movement, and you need to be very defensive. So let's just explain a little bit of what I want to see here on this, right? Potentially forming this last leg to the upside, all right? In this ABC, all right? Right over here in a double zigzag where you got a zigzag in W, your flat in X, and another zigzag up, which can catch many bulls, okay? And trap them very, very much. And there is an easy way to find out when it's getting exhausted and when this could literally roll over very aggressively. Okay, and this is the exact short position that but a lot of people will not know how to execute it. They maybe jump in early, and I will be letting know the people in the VIP, because I am looking to get into an epic short position here if the price action gives me that option. And this would be a $50,000 profit trade, or in between 50 and 100. Okay, because I am going to give the chance for the bears to come down to revisit 107.2k in the next couple of weeks. It's a realistic target. It's very much a scenario that I'm looking at, and that has to do with the higher time frame, guys. If you believe, okay, that we're going to pop out to all-time high here, I can already say it's low probability. There is the probability of forming a flat here, which, I will deal with that once we get the movements to the upside. But overall, for this to be the end of the correction and hit all-time high and break successfully in the next 1 to 2 weeks is low probability. It's just low probability to believe that we finished this contracting diagonal and then we finished this correction here and popped to new all-time highs in 1 to 2 weeks. It's just low probability based on the timing. This is a very, very short corrective move in time compared to the rally that we had since April, in a 5-wave move, which is a finished, right? Impulsive move to the upside, right? Leading move up. So it would be very, very rare to just shoot up to all-time high here in 1 to 2 weeks. I'm not looking for this at all, guys. And this is why I'm interested in a short position, giving the higher probability of the corrective structure to extend another few weeks, maybe to the end of September, with the potential of taking out $107,000, which then eventually I would be very interested, depending on what happens here, in looking for big long positions to hit new all-time high, because we expect new all-time high to be hit again throughout the next coming months. So it's really just shorting, longing, shorting, right? Riding the waves as we can. So I did not short this movement down, I have to say. I longed this one and I longed this one. And I am interested in catching this short. I missed this short here, even though I was very much aware of a double top happening here for Bitcoin. Was explained on the streams here. I just missed the move. This big move down happened overnight. So we already got a big rejection of $5,000. So, I just missed the perfect entry. But now I am interested in a short, and I'm going to explain it here, right? Because then hopefully in the next live stream we can say, guys, remember what we talked about? Well, this is what, this is the short that I entered. It's not going to be an easy execution, but I'm going to try and give you, the hint here on if we do get that movement up, what I am looking for. If this has to be the end of this A wave, B wave, and right now we're looking for the last push up in that C wave, I want to see a big breakout in a third wave here, because we possibly have the multiple 1-2s. 1 2 1 2, boom, boom. We want the big breakout, and then we want our 4-5s, right? To finish that impulsive move in your wave C that we are labeling here as a corrective WXY. We're just getting that push. And this would be very, very common for that fake out of the inverted head and shoulder, right? Where you have the inverted head and shoulder. We do break out a few $1,000s. And people are like, this is it, guys. Off we go to the races. All-time high is next. And then collapse down. Fake out completely. Purely based on this structure. This is not guaranteed eventually. It's a scenario that I'm looking for. And for me to execute this trade, it's all about the execution of the trade. This could be a bunch of rubbish, guys. And the price just flies. I would be more than happy for that to happen because I'm already in the long position. But I want to explain how I'm not in a short, okay, on Bitcoin. I am looking for a short. So what we need here to finish this one possible scenario, which is an ABC 3-wave structure here, is to finish the C wave literally with that third wave up and create your 4, 5, 4, and 5. You want to see some kind of an impulsive move in a 5-wave structure inside of a C wave. Always, okay? C wave of a zigzag or a flat, doesn't matter. You want to see a 5-wave move to finish that C wave. So I need that big breakout with high volume increasing. So then I can label this movement as the wave 3. What usually happens, and there's going to be some nice little scalp longs, okay? If you do retrace in a corrective structure, you can get into a scalp long to take out the highs. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a big move. I'm interested in the big move short to potentially take out 107K, which could be a $10,000 move, right? Yes, there's small little movements of 1,000, maybe 2,000 that you can get into a day trade here without a doubt. So if we do get a big high volume breakout and you do correct here, there is some longs here also to get in to take out the highs, but I'm not interested in those moves. I'm interested to see that exhaustion in that 4-5, 4-5, create that double, triple top scenario coming into big levels of resistance. And the big levels of resistance in this area, okay, I'm going to point them out right away. First of all, previous month. I like previous month levels. They are great. They do act as support and resistance very, very nicely. Previous month open, okay, from August is basically sitting here at 115.7K. I like it. Previous month levels, previous week levels, highs, lows, close, open. They do provide good resistance or support. So it's a zone that I'm interested in. What level do we have here? Also, we do not have the point of control. It's much higher. Other levels that we do have, we have a naked point of control from this consolidation. We have a nice, little retracement here, a bit of price action, consolidation here. There is a naked point of control in that zone. This is the complex thing right now. If this is resistance, this one or this one, which one do I short, right? Because, this is the main thing, right? You're going to see your average Joe out there doing technical analysis on YouTube. This is resistance. This is where we short. Let's all short together. And, this is the level where we're going to reject. Well, this is the zone where you can get that choppiness, right? You can actually break out here. You get the rejection from the naked point of control. This is sitting at 114.6K, 7K approximately, depending on what exchange, which is from this zone. You can reject from that level, create a fourth wave, then a fifth wave, fourth wave, and another fifth wave. This is the kind of structure that I'm looking at here after a big move up with high volume. Because at some point, you're going to get that pullback down, which I am really interested for it to be a big, big correction. And this is the zone where I want to short. I am targeting the local double tops or even a triple top, okay? Just depending on how many 1-2s we do have here, right? 3 and then 4-5, 4-5, depending on how many 1-2s we have here. because we could be forming another 1-2 here, which would be 3 1-2s. Then I want to see 3 4-5s. But ultimately, I want to see this exhaustion after the big move up. So I need that big move. I need the big move, guys, right? The information that I need here to take a short, and this is one scenario, guys. There's many scenarios to follow through later on, okay? So make sure to bear with me here. I know them in my head, but I want to explain them to you right away, okay? So I need the big move up here at some point. Maybe this is the next third 1-2, potentially. Big breakout, high volume, not interested in doing anything on this movement up. What I want to see is the correction, take out the highs, and this could be the first double top that I would attempt, but I'm very much aware of another one right over here. This would be the moment, okay? And this price action could be here. It could be all the way up here at 116K. I don't know exactly when we're going to get that sideways momentum after the big wave, okay? We never know when a third wave is going to finish, really. It is common to finish at the 1.618 extension, but it could hit a 2-to-1 extension. It could hit a 2.618 extension. And when we talk about the extensions, we talk about from the latest 1-2, right? So if this is your latest, that's your first 1-2, this is your second 1-2, then if you are going to be breaking out here in your third wave, you get your fib extension, and it is common to top out at the 1.618 extension. It is a common third wave target, right? And that's from your second wave 1 and 2. So, you know, potentially this could be the top for the third wave, and then your 4, 5, 4 and 5, and then you know, this is the moment that you're getting exhausted, and you know, you're looking for the double, triple tops in this area. So I do not know where that third wave is going to finish, but I don't need to, right? This is the thing, right? When you realize, you know, with experience, I don't need to know where this third wave is going to finish. What I do know after a third wave, if you have, you know, multiple 1-2s, that what you want to see is your 4 and 5, and maybe another 4 and 5, which commonly doesn't break out, you know, very much above the third wave target, right? So I need that third wave to finish, get a correction, and that's the moment that I realize I'm interested in the double or the triple top later on, because that could bring me a massive move down. And you can manage risk so well on these trades. You can get into a, you know, if you attempt the first double top, right? Stop loss is a baby. It's very, very small. Third double top right there. And then, you know, your risk management is absolutely phenomenal, okay? Once you get that rejection from the highs. So could give it a little bit of room. But I mean, literally, just so you understand, this could be it could be a very, very good short position, guys. You know, this is the short that I'm looking for here in this zone. And I just need that third wave breakout. I just need the breakout here. Big volume. People are going to be screaming out of their, you know, from the top of their lungs, inverted head and shoulder. It's time for extreme higher levels, all-time high next, right? And I know exactly what I'm looking for here, which I know many will not, you know, many will not be looking for this. I need that third wave to finish and that choppiness. I do not know if this is going to happen, guys, but I do know that it could happen in this area based on this three-wave corrective structure. So that is one scenario, okay? Previous month open, naked point of control. This is this area where I would expect the possible choppiness and failure, right? After the third wave, and you know, to try and go to higher levels and absolutely fail. If anybody's interested in shorting in a scalp, okay, there is a major level here. Eventually, it's the previous week highs. You know, we're just basically a few $100s away from that level. But if anybody is interested, we do talk about this lower high. Anybody that's interested in executing a scalp with very good risk management, a lower high after a major drop with high volume, and this is only for Hang on a second. Let's see if we can get this pivot. Right. Let's zoom in here because this is going to get me on my nerves in the end. After a big move down with high volume, the dead cat bounce high is very common to reject, even though if it's a few $100s. The interesting thing about this lower high from the move down with high volume, it's exactly where we have the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high to the pivot low of the range of the last couple of weeks. 382 Fibonacci retracement from all-time high is exactly where we have the dead cat bounce high from that big move down with high volume, right? So it is a rejection point, guys. It is a rejection point. Anybody that is interested to make some quick bucks, right, on a scalp reaction, without a doubt, this is a good level. 382 from all-time high to the lows is exactly where we have the dead cat bounce from the high volume move down. Very, very common to get a quick reaction. It might dump to much lower levels, but if you're interested in a scalp down to the VWAP, it's a good execution trade before maybe getting the breakout, right? So anyway, that's one level just for anybody that's interested to take a scalp short, right? It's just a very, very good level. Very, very common. We talk about this many times, and most of the times they do get the reaction. Same applies to the upside, right? Where we do have the movement up in a big wave, right? With high volume, you reject, you continue the uptrend momentum, and you visit that low, and then you get a nice rally. It's a good reaction level, so just pay attention to that level if anybody wants to get into a scalp trade right over there. Other scenarios to take into consideration, and I'll go through the comment section, guys, but there's just so many things here to talk about. But anyway, let's go right away. Suzanne, hello, how are you doing? Much love to you. Ethereum, we can take a look at Ethereum. I think Ethereum is not ready, guys, to hit all-time high. We've been talking about this for over a week right now. This is why I mainly got into a short from the highs here, which I've taken most of the profits, I have to say, on that Ethereum short with, $60,000 profit on Ethereum, which, it's just a very, very good rejection from all-time high. And I do think that Ethereum is likely gonna go to lower prices, guys. And this is the simple reason why. Explosive move from June, July, and part of August, guys. This is a huge move for Ethereum without getting any big, major, large consolidation just like this one right over here. It's just ready for a larger range before we actually hit new all-time highs and get a successful breakout, maybe to hit 5.5, maybe $6,000. We're going to leave the moon targets for the moon people, right? We ain't talking about 10,000 Ethereum. This is like very, very locally for the next coming weeks. But a larger correction here makes sense because this is a massive rally with no big major corrections. You got an awesome rally right over here, and you did get your very nice large corrective structure. This was back in May and part of June. We haven't had a major large correction here for a wave 4. This is not it, that's for sure. So we do expect this to extend for maybe another few more weeks before we smash out through all-time high again on Ethereum. That can be expected maybe entering into October. Give it a couple of more weeks. I would not expect here a big breakout to the upside and potentially a larger correction. And this would be my zone of interest for a massive swing long position on Ethereum. That's for sure. If we are going to be labeling this as your wave 1, be it here or here, it doesn't really matter, and this is your wave 3, get your wave 4 and then your wave 5 to break all-time high. It could be an extensive wave 5, it doesn't matter. we're looking for a larger correction here, preferably to the 382, maybe even the 50% Fibonacci. So there's a massive big higher time frame order block between a 3,300 and 3,900 here on Ethereum. This is the golden zone without a doubt for me to start wanting to get into a big swing long position again on Ethereum. And most commonly your wave fours, 236 is like the minimum target zone, which is where we're holding our support right now. We're literally bouncing there for over a week right now at the 0236, which is just slightly below 4,300. I would want to see 382. That's the moment that I would be looking at, heavily to get into a swing long position. Okay. So yeah, basically on Ethereum, if we go to the lower time frames from the rejection of all-time high, very, very choppy and overlappy. Very, very choppy and overlappy here. We do have the rejection from all-time high, the bounce, then another low, then a bounce and another low right there. So here we do have 3 peaks. That could instantly convert this into a contracting diagonal. And now we are forming a corrective structure. Now, what is very interesting about this movement, okay, when we do zoom in on Ethereum, is the bounce from the lows. The bounce from this low right over here is a 3-wave move up. That is not good. This is no kind of structure to get a flying pump here to all-time high. It's just not how the price moves. So you got a 3-wave move to the upside here, a possible 5-wave move down. It does look like that the correction is likely to extend, and that is likely going to take out this low at some point, even though if we do take out the recent highs of this range at 4,500 and maybe even 4,600. Doesn't really matter, but I would be actually interested in shorts on Ethereum to take out these lows. I am in a short already, taken most of the profit, but I'm actually interested in shorts, guys, just realizing the correction could extend a little bit longer. And it's totally fine, guys. I am looking for Ethereum to take out all-time highs, but it's just not quite ready yet based on this price action. Doesn't look too good. If we do get Ethereum, I will be looking very, very carefully at the levels of resistance on Ethereum here. Basically the valley area high of this trading zone, the golden pocket from all-time high to the pivot low, and just realize that, we could be forming some kind of a, larger corrective structure here. Possibly a flat where you have a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down. Well, it can't be a flat because you didn't hit. Well, I think we just barely scratched the 0.9. You barely scratched it. So could be looking for a possible flat here. Take out the local highs and fail to go to higher levels. And the key scenario here for the short on Ethereum is going to be a bit of the same story, where you get that breakout in a 3rd wave and then you create that exhaustion. The moment you create this exhaustion, it is going to be the moment either at the golden pocket, don't exactly know where it's going to be, but overall I am interested in a larger correction, guys, and that is purely based on the timing on the higher time frame. This structure on the pump that we had in the last few months with this correction is not ready to break out like this. It's not ready. So yeah, I just want to make you understand that that's, what we're looking at here, and that a larger corrective structure is very much the highest probability at the moment here for Ethereum. So getting a push up here and then getting exhausted will be the moment that I'm interested in the short here, to take out the recent higher lows of the last few weeks, to then only look for long positions on the exhaustion on the movement down at this massive order block from the higher time frame, and, you know, getting down to the 382 with the potential of hitting the 50% also from this pivot low to the pivot high, which would, you know, we would want to label your wave 4. So it's a short into a long, basically. This is no moment to panic and say bull market over. It's just, it will be the opportunity, right? This would be the classic trap pump where we're looking for Ethereum to all-time high, but it's not yet ready based on the timing. Timing is important. Timing is important for the waves here. So I will let know the VIP when I enter my next trade. The previous one was, you know, a complete success, which was a few weeks ago already when we did hit all-time high, and it was over a 10% move, right, to the downside. That's where I made most of my profits here into September, right? Late August, September on Ethereum, which is a very, very good execution. That's what we want to get into, right? The high probability setups. And yeah, I mean, this is literally the zone that I'm interested in shorting, guys. It's not going to be easy. It can get choppy. I'm explaining how the price needs to develop here. If we move down from here, then so be it, right? I have to say, then I'd have to believe that this was a sideways corrective structure that, you know, that could have formed a running triangle, right? But you do have a contracting diagonal potential here on Ethereum, just because you have 3 peaks there. And if the price of Ethereum were to drop down from this zone, then we would have to label this as a WXY, right? Just a sideways correction. If you do get a push down here on Ethereum, then this was it. This was your corrective structure, sideways correction. So you got your wave here to the downside, your correction. If you push down here, then okay, that was it. That's your third wave down, right? Which we are going to be looking for a C wave here, coming down to this order block on the higher time frame and the 382 Fibonacci 50%. That's where we're going to be looking for this to be a 3-wave move down and start being interested in massive long positions. Okay, so yeah, just a matter of being patient. Ethereum's price action has been extremely boring, guys. What can we say? We need a leg out of the range here. I know what I'm looking for. Move up, boom, 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 choppiness, exhaustion, start to hit the value area high of this trading zone, start to hit the golden pocket, realizing that this movement to the upside from the low does not look impulsive. So what we could be looking for is a corrective structure here to then claim the lows. I'm very, very interested in shorts, guys. Very, very interested, based on, I do understand that, you know, flying here to all-time high is low probability for this, and high probability that, you know, the range does continue, at least on Ethereum, with the potential for sweeping this low and coming into the order block here, which is where we should be interested in taking long positions. So anyway, that's a little bit, I know I'm doing a lot of Picasso drawing here, guys, but this is in a nutshell what I'm looking for. Very boring price action on Ethereum for over 10 days. It's been absolutely insane how boring this range has been. I mean, if you're a scalper, right, a day trader, you can get into shorts and longs from the highs and lows. I've been in a short from the rejection of all-time high, which has paid out nicely in the last 2 weeks. And just remaining very, very patient, guys. Been a boring market, let's be honest. Let's go through the comment section. I got a couple of more scenarios on Bitcoin. Let me know if you want to hear them right away. Same target as me. In from 110.4k, take profit 114, 115, little moon bag for possibly 116k. Mike, absolute legend right away there. Yeah, we have been long on Bitcoin from the lows of this consolidation. And you know what is interesting about this consolidation, legends, is this was not hard to identify the opportunities in this range. Let me just quickly explain that. Right away, okay? Let me just explain a little bit of, why did we execute a long? Because I think overall, we like to be an educational channel as well, okay? Not tell me if you are shorting or longing right now. I'm in no trades right now, which is the next trade. I mean, if you are interested, let's take a look at the VWAP. If you're interested in a scalp long, guys, Let's take a look here. I'm just looking for a scalp trade, guys, here. Oh, little bounce from the point of control, and the session VWAP could be an option with the golden pocket. Previous day point of control. This could be a bouncing zone exactly at 112.1 to 112k. VWAP, right? Session VWAP with the previous point of control, previous day point of control, 50% to the golden pocket. It could be your 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then you get the movement up. It's an interesting zone to execute along. Session VWAP, previous day point of control, 50% to golden pocket area to see if the price does manage to hold here. With the local price action, I'm just getting a little bit of excitement, guys, with this boring price action that we've had, in crypto for the last, not few days, even last 1 to 2 weeks. Just to get into a nice push up. I like this price action. Move down, move up, move down. There is the risk of a multiple 1-2 here, without a doubt. If you do create a bit of choppiness here and then another movement down, we could be looking for a double zigzag here, right? Double zigzag. If you create more choppiness in this zone, I mean, it could bounce from this area without a doubt already to claim the highs. But this movement down for the moment has a good chance it is corrective. Move down, bounce, move down, bounce. You're overlapping already from that pivot low. So your only bearish chance here is a multiple 1-2, where you have 1-2, 1-2, breakdown in a third wave. But with this movement to the upside that looks very, very nice and strong, we can definitely look to label this as a corrective structure. So what would be nice here to get a larger, just a larger pullback, is you got a zigzag down here already. You got overlap, a possible WXY where you have a 3-wave structure and then another 3-wave down, double zigzag, VWAP, golden pocket from the low to the high, 50% Fibonacci. Previous day point of control when we do get the fixed volume profile of this range, and look for the bounce in this area. That would be like the golden zone to get into a long. Even though, you do have support here already. We've got a zigzag already here. So it looks more interesting, of course, to label this as a correction. We've got overlap from this pivot. So it does look like there could be a high probability in taking out this high. You always need to be aware of a double 1-2 though. That's the only thing. When your third wave is similar, the length of the first wave, I would prefer this to form a 3-wave move up, get very close in taking out these lower highs, and then form another 3-wave down. And then eventually, if you do form this kind of price action here, it's a very, very high probability long position to take out the highs. So yeah, I just want to get a little bit of excitement here on the lower time frames. But I want to explain some other scenarios on Bitcoin. I want to explain some other scenarios, which, if you do give me a bit of time, let's go through the comment section, because I do feel rude not going through the comment section, legends. Long like Andy 2.0, Staffer 1, my man, much love to you, brother. I'm going to cut it off. K-Doge. Suzanne, much love. On top of that, I think 200 mil got liquidated on shorts last 24 hours. Let's go. Price too choppy for a massive rally, says Sentinel. Yeah. Bienvenido de nuevo, el profesor. Staffer 1, much love to you, brother. Look, price action is extremely boring, I have to say. I'm not in any major local positions in the last few days, even though I went to a wedding and, you know, wasn't really interested in trading, of course, just disconnecting a little bit. But I need the price to get out from this area. Let's explain another scenario that looks a little bit interesting, because when you do have so much overlap and so much possibilities in a WXY here, because I mean, you can fit a flat here, you can fit, you know, the WXY in your X wave, which is literally over here, and now you're going to form this 3-wave structure here. In a nutshell, this WXY, right? The thing of an X wave, you can have a flat here to finish your X wave here, but inside of an X wave, you can form a larger WXY where you have a flat, you have a zigzag up and a zigzag down in a sideways WXY. So instead of your X finishing here, it finishes here. And you know what you're looking for here is literally that 3-wave structure to the upside. Regardless, it doesn't really matter if your X wave finishes here or here, because what we want to see in this push up, as explained before, is that breakout in the 3rd wave and get the choppiness here where you're looking for your 4 and 5. You have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Get that exhaustion here where we do have all of the resistance, the previous month open, right? We do have, you know, also naked point of control all the way up there at 114.7K. This is where I want to see the price dancing. And when the price dances, I'm gonna join that dance into a short. I'm gonna join the dance, but I need the dancing structure. I need the choppiness after a big wave up. And that's what I'm waiting for here, literally, to execute that short. So what if the price, you know, what other options do we have here? What other options do we have with this market structure? I would give a chance for a flat, okay? Let's just imagine that you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and here you're going to form a flat and then get the rally. This higher low is actually interesting just because from the range of this inverted head and shoulder, if you wish, you do have the point of control. So we know it's a liquidity game, guys. It is a liquidity game. Getting below this higher low, if we suddenly get a little bit of a flash crash here, this sweep of the low becomes an interesting long position. It does become an interesting long position. If you sweep up the low, reclaim the level, right, and then form a corrective structure here, if we get this kind of price action, this becomes a very interesting long position. Obviously, the aggressive sniper trades would just execute along as you sweep up this low. You do have the point control of the last few weeks, right? This is from the 25th of August. Big range. I would just wait, okay? If you do get a drop down to this level, this is actually a pretty good execution long because, you know, you can fit a finished impulsive move here. Okay, and then you have a flat structure and then you get the rally up, right? Which would eventually finish that ABC movement that we are looking for from this low, right? So yeah, it's a long execution to take out the highs. This would be your target zone. I wouldn't you know, I wouldn't say we're going to, you know, hit all-time high. This is literally a day trade. Possible long, sweep of the lows to then bounce and take out these highs. You know, this would be the target. If we do get a nice push to the upside, you know, you can always leave some open, right? You know, I've longed in this area and I've taken profits eventually on the movements up. Latest profit taking was on Friday. And, you know, this just did take several days, right? Over a week to develop. And it's kind of a boring long position. But, you know, if you do, this is a good entry point, in my opinion. Purely based on, yeah, there could be a little 5-waver here. You do form a flat. And if it were to come down here to sweep up these lows, you know, it could be that moment to execute the long, okay? It's a good level. Point of control of the range of the last 10 days. Well, more actually, 2 weeks here. And just sweep up those lows. You've got a possible flat movement here to then get the rally back up. So if you missed a long position throughout the last few days in this structure, there might be one sweep of the low and then get the pump to take out the highs and maybe push to higher levels. We might just break out here, and then I'm looking for the 4-5s, and I'm ready to execute that short on the double triple tops, right? It's all about finding, right, the wave that you're looking for, right? If we get a movement down and sweep up the lows, I know that this could be a good long entry. If we push up, I'm already in a long, you know, it doesn't matter. If we push up from here, I'm waiting for the exhaustion. That's when I'm executing a short, right? So I got a possible long here based on the point of control, a possible flat structure here. Good support. You know, if you wish, it could be the right shoulder still developing. But it's a good level regardless. So I know a long position here for a day trade to take out the highs at least. And I'm interested in the choppiness after creating the breakout of this neckline, right? Which a lot of people are looking for, that inverted head and shoulder structure, which it's not promising, guys. It's not a promising inverted head and shoulder, because preferably in an inverted head and shoulder, from the head, you want to see a good push up in a 5-wave structure, and then a 3-wave move down to form your right shoulder, right? This is what you want to see in an inverted head and shoulder, really, where you got your left shoulder, the head, but inside of the head, you want to see an impulsive move to the neckline, a clear, nice 5-wave structure to the neckline. And then eventually your right shoulder becomes a 3-wave corrective structure, right? Which eventually you look for the breakout, because that's where you want to label your wave 3. It's all, I mean, all of these patterns do come together eventually with Elliott wave theory at the end of the day. But you want to see the head, the right side of the head be formed in an impulse. If it does not have a clear impulse, well, that's when the fake outs become an issue, where you break out the neckline, but yeah, it was it's not the proper structure. And this is literally what we're talking about here, about this inverted head and shoulder, that the movement up from the head to the neckline is not promising at all, guys. This is not a promising impulsive move up, which eventually leads me to the idea that, yeah, we're breaking out. I very much expect this, but I do not expect, you know, extreme higher prices eventually. So, I mean, of course, we don't know where exactly it's going to finish. We don't need to. We just need to see the stop and the exhaustion, regardless, be it here or be it here or be it here. I don't care where it happens, okay? But when it does happen is where I'm going to be interested in taking the short. Be it here or be it here. I need this. This is what I need. I mean, preferably at the levels of resistance eventually, or we do have the point of control of the range of this range, which is all the way up here. I mean, maybe it does get it all the way up there. Maybe this push does actually get it all the way up there. Sweep up this lower high at 117k. I mean, you know, if you're in you should be in a long position already, especially if you're in the VIP, right? From last week, we already in a long position. You know, added a little bit to the long. We are aware of that breakout to get 114, 115, but this just doesn't become the best area to get into the long at resistance. It just does not become the best area. If you can manage risk, then you can get in eventually, but it just, preferably you're in longs from the last few days, right? From higher lows, or even from this point where we did explain that, you know, just over a week ago. And this long was really, it was actually pretty nice. It was a nice long position. That's the main long entry that I got in, okay? And just to keep this educational, guys, because, you know, a lot of people struggle on where to execute a trade, right? When I see a lot of noise, I just wait, guys. You know, I'm not in a rush to trade. I'm not in a rush, because when I have some clarity, I would just get into a big position, right? I'll just get into a big position. You know, I'm interested in making some significant gains at the end of the month or at the end of 2 months. It doesn't matter. I'm not in a rush to make money trading. I just wait for the perfect clarity to just, you know, execute the trade. And the main reason why a lot of people lose trading is because they're in a rush to get into the next trade, right? I missed this trade. I need a trade. I need a trade today, tomorrow, and tonight. I do get the people that want to increase their capital, but you know, if you're not responsible with your trading plans, the market will take your money. The market will take your money if you're not responsible and you're taking good execution trades with good risk management. And I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a position where I'm in a rush to take any trades, and I just want to share my biggest, highest probability trade setups. So this was actually a pretty interesting long position. On YouTube, we did talk about this long position. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. Maybe some of you are still in that long position, but we did talk about a double bottom here in this level. And the thing was simple. It was the point of control of this range and the anchored VWAP, right? We had the anchored VWAP and the point of control of this range. Apart from Elliott wave theory that we were speculating on a wave 4 and a wave 5, right? This double bottom became your best option. This was over a week ago on YouTube. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we did point out that this was a good double bottom level. Anchored VWAP from the low of April, point of control of the range, very solid level. And we were zooming in on the lower time frames about this local drop. And we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 possible execution to get into the double bottom here at the support. I didn't get into that long. I didn't get into the long. I talked about it, but I didn't get into that long. The long that I got into was the movement up here to take out these highs and the correction. This is the zone that I entered the long. And there was an option to add to the long position here, but I just didn't. Okay, 𝗬𝗿𝘆 did point out a long position here on this correction. I entered here. Stop loss was at the low. I was looking for this projection to get to 113.5. It's a swing long. It can take a week, can take 2. But this was the projection to the upside. So it doesn't really matter, enter here, here, or here. You know, you're just looking for this movement up. But it was good. It was high probability, got massive amount of support, anchored VWAP, point of control of the range. You know, we were analyzing very carefully this movement for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then obviously look for that double bottom or the first wave up, and then the higher low was your option to get into the long. So it was relatively an easy zone. These are the easy zones where I want to execute my trade. So yeah, anyway, not much more here has to be said on Bitcoin. I think I explained a little bit, you know, for the aggressive scalpers, make sure to maintain risk, okay? Price is volatile. Scalping is very, very complex. You need to be quick. There's a good scalping short level here. The dead cat bounce from the lower high of the drop that we had here on the 25th of August with high volume. Very common to get a rejection. It's only a scalp. It's with the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high to the pivot low of the range. Down to the session VWAP, right? Be careful. We're just hitting that neckline. It could explode out. Don't add to position here. It's not a zone to add to position on a short. It could really just rip to the upside a few $1,000s. Don't get trapped on this short position. Only on the rejection. Have one attempt with stop loss above the high of the rejection. That's it. For a possible long entry, the closest level that I do see available eventually is that point of control of this range, which is with that higher low. I'm not sure if we're going to get down there, but it's very, very possible that you do create like a flash crash. We do have some news coming up here in the next 30 minutes, which is non-farm payrolls. Will it create that volatile move to the downside? Maybe not. Maybe yes. Maybe we break out from here. I don't know. I don't need to know. I do know that if we do come down here, it's a good level of support. So alert set. If you do get that movement down, sweep up the lows. You do have this higher low with a point of control. And you do have the potential of that flat movement here before you rally back up to the highs. So a flat here is very, very much possible after sweeping up this low. That's a good execution long position. And for the big short position, which I'm not in at the moment, I've explained a little bit what I want to see. I want to see that pop out with high volume. Get the breakout. Get people excited. Inverted head and shoulder. Move up to all-time high in Valhalla, right? And then create the exhaustion. That exhaustion on the 4/5s where we have a naked point of control from this range. Maybe it claims this high. I don't know. I want to see the exhaustion. Sign of weakness of the bulls after the big push up in the 4/5s. This is the moment I'm looking for double tops, triple tops, where we do have naked point of control, where we do have the previous month open. You know, this is a zone where I know that the price can get exhausted, and that's where I'm executing my short, guys. And this is a swing short position to take out 107K with the potential of taking out 107K in the next few weeks. It's a swing short position eventually to look for swing long positions, you know, depending on what happens next year on the breakdown, right? We're interested in looking for longs at 100K zone, but we'll cross that bridge once that this happens, right? Higher time frame, we are looking for new all-time highs at some point, guys. End of the year, maybe October, maybe November. We're very, very cautious with this local price action. The movement up is very choppy, very overlappy, very difficult to give, you know, a high probability wave 1 and wave 2 in this structure of the last week, which is making me aware that these lows can be claimed. That's why the interest of the possible short trade to take out the low here, okay, and maybe go lower eventually. So just be a little bit cautious. It's not looking great for the price to moon here to all-time high. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. I'm very patient, guys. I am, you know, looking for big swing positions. I have a track record. I have good P&Ls. They're big positions. As explained, I only executed the big position trades of the last few weeks. This long position from August on Bitcoin to claim all-time high, and the short position on Ethereum to the low 4K levels, which is a good percentage move down. These were the two main trades where I made most of my gains trading, okay, in the last, you know, 1 to 2 months, basically, right? In the last, you know, 30 to 40 days. These are the only two big major trades that I got in. And, I'm interested in the next big trade. And the one that I would be interested in on Bitcoin, without a doubt, is that short position to take out 107.2K. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. We're going to be very careful watching that, but I'm very patient. I know what I'm looking for. And the first people to know will be the VIP and the pro community eventually, right? Just because I can't stick on YouTube 24/7. And it's easy just to go to Telegram and say, guys, I entered the long or I entered the short, right? Like the Bitcoin long position that was executed last week from this zone. Explained in detail right over there. Guys, if you are interested in trading, Bluffin has insane bonuses, guys. Also weeks, okay? Weeks you do get that 100% position airdrop on Ethereum, depending on what you deposit. You do get this airdrop position, guys, as you can see here on this screenshot, okay? Bluffin, also 10% cashback on your deposit. Deposit 25K, you're getting VIP 1 also, or VIP 2 if you deposit 50K, which decreases your fees significantly. And if you sign up with one of the links down below, I will jump you in the VIP community on Telegram, so you know exactly my next trades on Bitcoin or Ethereum, guys. Join the Legends community, okay, here down below. It's the free Telegram community to get more information, to hop you in the VIP, guys. Let's go right away through the comment section. I think now it is time to take a look at some altcoins. Wow, guys, this is incredibly boring price action. You might think it's bottoming out. It does look like it's bottoming out. I mean, I did take most of the profits here, realizing that we can get a squeeze up. But, that squeeze up, I am actually interested in shorts here, still on Ethereum. Not the perfect zone to enter along, in my opinion, just because we moved up on Ethereum here in a very disturbing three-wave move. I do realize that these highs are, possibly going to be taken on Ethereum. I just don't want a long here at the moment. I would rather get the breakdown, look for longs later, okay, or move up from here and look for shorts, just because from the low of the range of the last few weeks on Ethereum, we moved up in a three-wave structure, guys. It's not too complicated to see, right? From the low, we moved up like this. This is rubbish, guys. This is not bullish. This is not rubbish. So it's either look for longs at lower prices on Ethereum or look for shorts. As soon as we claim the high and get the exhaustion, I'm going to be looking for shorts, because I don't believe this is a strong move to the upside where we're going to, form a wave 3 here, 4 and 5 and hit all-time high. I think this is going to fail miserably and then take out the lows. And it's all it has to do with this three-wave move up here. So, I mean, you take that with a pinch of salt, but I'm just explaining here what I can see on the chart. So, yeah, let's go right away through the comment section. That's a win-win situation. Staffer one, much love to you, brother. Let's take a look here at the Andy Bitcoinsensus RLC, please. Could you please take a look at RLC? Let's take a look at some altcoins here for the community. Make sure to drop your favorite altcoin, guys. We're going to take a look at some altcoins here. RLC, very volatile. I think, I do remember, we got some drawings here. I do remember this one. I'm not sure if this is the one, but it does ring a bell, where I think there's some big whales that own most of the tokens. Correct me if I'm wrong. RLC, IXEC, RLC. I think 40% of the supply or 60% of the supply is like in 5 wallets, which is eventually doesn't make it too sexy to invest in. Very volatile, pump and dump. Yeah, be careful, guys, with these altcoins. I had to go, Umbrella. The story on Umbrella. I did get, there's a couple of nasty comments saying, there we go, Umbrella. This is a small percentage of portfolio. I made more money trading last month. I made, almost 10 times what I invested in Umbrella just by trading in the last 2 months. So, yeah, the amount of percentage that we get into these altcoins, and I know a lot of people, you know, maybe we'll go all in if I say, you know, Umbrella, I think it's going to do well. This one went bankrupt, guys. You know, we got busted on this one. The company said it's closing down. You can never predict these things, and this is why on these small cap coins, we know 90+% of altcoins are going to go, they're going to disappear, guys. They're just going to disappear slowly in a very slow death, most of them. And as crypto investors, we just need to dabble in a few of them and maybe expect a nice return. So anyway, I went very vocal on this. Somebody saying this is, you know, the reason why you don't need to listen to YouTubers out there. But we got into some epic nice spot or swing trades on 𝗬𝗍 network. And I was very vocal on this about taking over 50% of profits on 𝗬𝗍 network when we did hit the highs of March. You know, hey, buying zone, 4x, get out with more than 50%, guys. Get out up here. Leave a moon bag. Well, you know, you're at break even right now. Constellation DAG, another one, right? I don't get any good messages from the big calls that we talked about. Constellation DAG, accumulation zone. This was back in 2024. Hit the highs, get out. Right? Get out with over 50%. You know, not too many fancy messages on all of those great calls, just the bad ones, the people that remember, you know, only the other ones, right? But there's been big major calls throughout 2024 on some altcoins to reach out the March highs. Some of them didn't, right? So anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Awesome live explanation, Andy. Top analysis and TA. Nice having you back. Mike, much love to you, brother. Thank you very much for the kind words right over there. Bitcoin is where I make most of the gains, guys. I can't stress that enough. Okay, I'm not a altcoin trader. We can take a look at some altcoins and, you know, look at some projections and that, but most of my money is made on Bitcoin, and, you know, added Ethereum right now, which is eventually a high cap, and we can actually, you know, it moves very, very nicely with the levels and, you know, different scenarios. So I don't make my money on altcoins, guys, just to make, you know, Ethereum in trading. Could you please take a look at gold, Andy, when in the possible top, when this potentially can stop? Gold price action, we talked about an awesome prediction, guys, on gold a few months ago. No, not a few months ago, a few weeks ago. And we probably still have it on the chart. Here it is. I mean, yeah, this was highly predictable, guys. We did talk about gold second week of August. Who remembers this price action, which I was talking to you know, another guy, Daniel from Chart Champions, actually, which we did share. You know, he was talking about also a triangle here. Also, Kuhn was looking at a triangle here, which is basically, instead of a complex WXY, an A, B, C, D, and E. And then you have your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, right? And it's just exploding out. Regardless of which one played out here, it's just flying right now, which is, you know, was very much expected with the price action that we had in August. It was, you know, this was your opportunity zone. And we did talk about this on a live stream a few weeks ago. I did pop it out on a live stream a few weeks ago. You can trade gold on some crypto exchanges. You do have gold on BTCC to trade. So if you paid attention to this analysis based on Elliott wave theory a few weeks ago, we did talk about the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci here to speculate on a 3-wave structure in your wave W, 3-wave structure here in your wave X, A, B, C, D, E, fly here to new all-time highs. Now your question, when is this going to stop? Well, eventually, just going through the simple explanation, once you have this momentum stopping and ranging, that is the moment we could look for a larger corrective move. We can talk about some projections eventually, just going in simple terms. From the high to the low of this range, 1.618 extension is very, very common. The golden ratio is a common target area when you formed a multi-monthly range, which is sitting at 3,700. So that could be your first major big stop on gold, and it could move down very aggressively. 3,700, the golden ratio from this consolidation. You just pull Fibonacci from the high to the low of the range, multi-monthly range. It's very, very common target, okay, when we take a look at Fibonacci. When you're at price discovery, you really need to take a look at Fibonacci. It's like your main tool to look at possible levels. So that is one of them. But keeping it simple, if this was just a regular triangle in an A, B, C, D, E, and that's your first wave 1, 2, and this is your wave 3. Well, what you want to look for here is your correction in a wave 4, and then your last push up in a wave 5. That's the moment that you realize this is your last leg to the upside. After such a big move up in a wave 3, you need your consolidation in a wave 4, which could last a few weeks, right? This is the 4-hourly time frame. And then one more high. Possible target zones, the golden ratio, which is the 1.618 extension right there from this consolidation. So that's a little bit of a local topping zone that could happen for gold. Just another $100 to the upside, and then will it correct down, form a corrective structure, or will it break down in a very strong impulsive move, right? And then bounce up. That's the moment where we can realize that gold could go into a little bear market for the next few months. But yeah, overall, 3,700 to 3,800 could be a local top. But this third wave could explode. It could continue exploding. You need that stop. Once you get the stop and take out the highs again, then you realize that this is your wave 4 and this is your wave 5. That's the moment to get out. Right, so all good on gold here by the looks of things. Just a quick explanation, guys, on that. Somebody was asking, Jorge was asking about that move on gold, but yeah. Recently joined the VIP group. Nice setups. Looking for that big trade coming up. 𝗞𝗍, yes, don't worry. You know the deal. I will let you know. The latest trade on Bitcoin was last week, basically, guys, here at the point of control, anchored VWAP. Taken, significant profits on that move, added to the position, but that's, I've taken almost $10,000 here in a week's trading, right? Added to the position, got 7,000 unrealized, which I will take once we get above 113.5k. It's the main target zone. We'll be taking profits on the push up because I'm interested in a short, right? But this was the long trade. Might be about 25k profit if we push up to 114, 115. And it's a week's trading, guys. So lots of people will get confused here because I will let the people know in the VIP, like you suggested. Nice setups. Thank you very much for that shout out. I will let the people know exactly where I enter, guys. What else would you want, right? Not many people like to share their trades and their P&Ls and their track records, guys. I don't mind. People want to see, hey, what's your data? What's your profits? What are your setups? Long trade was shared last week here on Bitcoin. Short trade on Ethereum was shared a few weeks ago from all-time high. I just share it, and what can we say? It's anyway. You got the VIP if you want to join, guys. I just share my bigger trade positions there, okay? How to execute them. Join the Telegram and we can hop you in the VIP, or you got the pro community where there's more updates from myself, rest of the coaches. 𝗬𝗍 is very active there, sharing the levels and possible scalps. But this is very important, guys. Just because I'm interested in a short position in this zone doesn't mean I have limit shorts here and I'm going to execute it straight away. which is the importance, right, of understanding the exhaustion and realizing, you know, the double, triple tops in this area, where to execute exactly. It's super important, guys, because anybody that has very small experience would just say, Andy said that we should be rejecting at 115K. You know, I do believe him. I'm going to execute a short straight away. And the price just continues to the upside, right? And it doesn't get exhausted. It doesn't form what I need to see, right? And then people will be like, oh, you know, you did say that we were going to short, you know, we're going to reject from here. No, I need to see that exhaustion, right? After the big wave, I need to see that exhaustion for me to execute the trade. Muy importante. Muy importante. GRT, please, says Shan. Let's go and take a look at GRT. But first of all, let's see how many likes we do have on the live stream. 162 likes. Yeah, screw that. Screw that. I'm out of here, guys. Only joking. Only joking. Let's get that like button absolutely destroyed, guys. The people that are around here. Let's go. Okay, we got a nice push of 20 likes. Absolutely awesome. Thanks very much, my man. Jorge, you're very welcome, brother. Very, very welcome. Did anybody get into a long trade on gold? I mean, we did share this live stream not long ago, guys. I think it was on I don't know where it was. It must have been on, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday. I don't know. But we did pull out the live stream from gold that we were analyzing this structure, and we were exactly looking for this wave right over there. Did anybody get into a long trade on gold? Let me know. And you can trade gold on some exchanges. BTCC does have gold. You can trade gold with using US dollar tether on BTCC. If anybody realized the potential of this in the last few weeks, they knew that there was high probability in forming a higher low here to take out all-time high in entering into September, right? So, I mean, there's nothing to do right now here, guys. Let's be honest. I mean, I need to find that let me just find that, because it played out very, very nicely. It did play out very, very nicely, that movement to the upside, right? I think I do have a stream here where I do talk about gold and that price action hitting the new highs. Anyway, I think it's not time to look for it. It's not the time. Yeah, there it is. I got it right over here. Just wanted to share it with you guys. Right? This was back in... Well, I shared this 7 days ago, but this was from a stream that we talked about this about 8th of August. We were trading at this zone, and it was very, very good to identify this gold structure. You know, we were looking for one more retracement, and that's going to be it, guys. You know, that's the opportunity. So, and maybe a lot of people will say, well, what do you think about gold now, right? Well, where's the next trade on gold? I mean, this was the trade. This was the trade from August on gold to bounce at $3,300. One more pullback in August to then rally into September to take out all-time high. And, you know, this was the opportunity, right? When the opportunity comes, you need to take it, right? Because right now, as Jorge was explaining, which is the target zone for gold, right? Where is gold going to go? Well, I don't know. Right? When you have that explosion breakout, which is very much anticipated with this consolidation, you just need to, you know, you got a possible rejection zone using Fibonacci, right? The golden ratio, 3,700 to 3,800. You need to wait for, you know, the possible wave 4 and then one push more, then you realize that this wave is at some point going to move down, right? There's only a certain extension that you can reach after a fourth wave, but you need that fourth wave to develop at some point, regardless being here or here, right? The trade to be taken on this was literally here, which is what we explained a few weeks ago, which is basically from this live stream that was provided a few weeks ago, right? So sometimes I do really, I mean, somebody said, can you take a look at gold? And we're just really looking at this range for 10 minutes. And this was the highest probability to smash out through all-time high entering into September. I mean, this is a big move on gold. It's a big move on gold, without a doubt, from the exact entry zone, which is, you know, the golden pocket zone from this push up, right? At least to take out all-time high. And then, yeah, if we do continue up, a 10% move on gold, which is a multi-trillion asset, right? Just this did follow up very, very nicely based on the analysis. You know, this is the exact level where it bounced. We were trading at $3,400 the ounce, and we came down to 3,300. That's where it bounced into September, hitting all-time high. So yeah, it was very awesome trade. If anybody took that was shared here on YouTube. Are you interested in non-farm payrolls? We could get some volatility. That's going to happen in 3 minutes. I'm going to stick around here because it's just happening in 3 minutes. We just might get that local volatility. Pay attention because, yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in trading the news, guys. You know that, because we don't know if it's going to pump and dump. It dumps and pumps, right? Taking into consideration major levels, it might be a little bit of a difficult execution. Let's see if we do get that lower high being taken or this higher low with the news coming up here in the next 2 minutes. But yeah, news can be very unpredictable. You know, it can dump and pump, it can pump and dump, it can pump and continue pumping. Not interested, but you might get a quick rejection, SFP, from that lower high dead cat bounce from the big volume move, and you might just sweep up this low where you have a lot of support, which is the point of control of this entire range of the last 2 weeks. Okay, so just maintain risk. Okay, I don't go too big if I'm entering a trade on the news, because it's not my style of trading, right? I know that news can be quite unpredictable. So it feels like gambling a little bit. So not interested in gambling when we talk about trading. I'm interested in probability trades, right? So, but yeah, might be both. Yeah, it might be both. It might be both. It might sweep up both of the levels. So yeah, as Stafford one says. PPI Wednesday and CPI is Thursday. That's going to be interesting. I will be doing a live stream here throughout these events. Okay, see where the price is exactly to see where that volatility kicks in. Okay, so we do have Wednesday and Thursday, which are very interesting as well with the news. We'll be doing a live stream and see. Today, no news. Oh wait, hang on a second. Yeah, we do have non-farm payrolls. It's today, isn't it? Non-farm payrolls. Probably won't have much volatility anyway. It's in the next minute, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody says there's no news today. Did you buy some more ICP around 4.6? I did not. I'm only going to buy ICP if we do create that. I've already got a lot of ICP in this $5 range. Okay, so I did accumulate the last few months in this area, and I am aware of the lows being taken here on ICP on the worst case scenario, which I have some dollars reserved for this spring point, okay, of sweeping up the lows of the range of the last few months. That's where I'm going to be buying. Okay, I'm not interested in buying anymore in this zone, understanding that we might take out the low. I'm happy with the bag that I have here. I'll just buy cheaper if we sweep up these lows and get the reclaim. If we don't reclaim, I'm not buying anymore. Okay, I need that sweep of the lows on ICP at $4.20 and reclaim it, right? Failed breakout, and get back above the lows. Anyway, we've got the news coming out, non-farm payrolls right now as we speak. We could be getting that local volatility here on Bitcoin. Maybe the S&P 500 could be interesting to watch with the news. Maybe some local internal volatility, maybe not much. Oh, coming down here lower than expected. Previous 818k, 911, having a little bit of a bearish effect here. Bearish effect on the market as it is coming out lower than expected, but not interested in trading any of this, guys. Thank you, Legend 𝗬𝗿𝗍. You're very much welcome, my brother. Much love to you. Let me bring my socks 1 second, says Staffer1. Umbrella Network, what happened? I know, yeah, I know. We did explain this. Umbrella Network, they went bust, guys. They went bust. What can we say? It went bust. You know, the company announced it was closing down on X, and that's it. I lost over $15,000 on this one. It wasn't that much because eventually it was less than 1% of my portfolio. It was just a speculative crypto. You know, they were active, but you never know what's going to happen, you know, at the end of the day. It's one of those altcoins that you take the risk. Just like Chainlink, just like ICP, right? Obviously, Chainlink, ICP, much bigger companies, much better projects. This is a low cap coin just to take the shot, okay? It either goes to zero or it does a 1020x. If it does a 1020x, then absolutely wonderful, right? Making some good gains. If it goes to zero, you just need to take the loss. And this is why, you know, I can't stress this enough, guys. When we're talking about these low cap coins that has the potential of making a 1020x, right? They could literally go to zero. They could literally go bust. And that was the case on Umbrella Network. They announced that they're closing down. We cannot predict these things, right? So hopefully anybody that invested did take a very small loss. For me, it was a very small loss. I made more money trading Bitcoin in the last 2 months than the loss on Umbrella Network. And I'm very vocal about it. I can share with you. Well, I'm not going to share the portfolio, but I'll do a screenshot basically on the loss of Umbrella Network, which was just over $15,000, and made much more trading Bitcoin and Ethereum the last couple of months. So it really depends on your risk tolerance here. Bitcoin having that shakeout, coming down to the VWAP. For all of those aggressive traders out there, hitting here the VWAP, very, very aggressive long, in my opinion. Not too interested here with the news. News can be worse than expected, but VWAP, session VWAP is the scalpers level, right? Just a quick little bounce at the VWAP, right? Bounce a few $100, get in, get out, right? Protect position. I'm not interested in that type of trading at this point in my trading career, guys. But anybody that is interested in you know, getting into these aggressive scalps, just be cautious. Quick touch at the VWAP, quick reaction bounce of a few $100. You know, it's just not my interest here at the moment. Where do I find the news? Well, you got many different websites. There's Trading Economics. There's Forex Factory, Trading Economics. There's many different sites, okay, where you can see the news. the ones that I've been using throughout the last few years is Trading Economics and Forex Factory. Okay, Forex Factory. You can search that on Google. That's what you call good risk management, my man. Yes, sir. Staffer one. Legends, thank you very much for joining today's live stream. Okay. Just a bit of local volatility at the moment. Quick little bounce at the session VWAP for all of those scalp lovers. Just be defensive here. Quick move down, quick little reaction bounce. You could create a local double bottom here, test the lows again, and then bounce again. You know the deal. Manage risk. These are quick executions. Stopped out at break even. You don't want to go too crazy when there's news, okay? News is very unreliable for trading, in my opinion, with my experience. Never enjoyed trading the news. So I kind of avoid it. I've explained a little bit what I want to see on Bitcoin, the major levels, how I want to get into my next trades. Be cautious. We are looking for new all-time highs at some point in the next coming months. The movement down doesn't look too aggressive. It looks very corrective. And the movement up also looks better as a corrective structure. So short term, there is the risk of taking out 107K. Maybe in 1 week, maybe in 1 week, maybe in 2 weeks. But ultimately in the next couple of months, at some point, take out all-time high. So the range could continue and the lows have the risk to be taken at 107K with the possibility of breaking down. With the possibility, which would only bring a massive opportunity to get into epic swing longs. I would be planning here to get into a massive long position, guys, to take out all-time high, because that is the highest probability looking at the higher time frame. Shorts, I'm not interested here. If we do get the breakout and choppiness, I've explained what I want to see to get into a short. Right now, eventually a short to take out this low is not the level that I'm looking at. Okay, much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. Make sure to check out the exchanges. Okay, weeks bluffing, you get awesome perks, 10% cash back on bluffing, and you can join if you use one of the links, the VIP community, guys. To get more info on that, just join the Telegram down below, which is the first link, where I share all of my Bitcoin and Ethereum trades. They are swing trades. The latest one was the long from last week, okay, on Bitcoin, which, significant profits were taken already on that movement. Thank you, legends. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one.